Today I'm going to be talking about how effective creative use of language can enhance public speaking, but how can such as adding flair to your speech actually backfire on you. So we actually discussed this chapter in class today, and I was kind of waiting to do that just so I could understand it a little bit better. So communication, if you didn't know, is actually when we are trying to transfer what is in our minds to the minds of an audience. So it's actually quite different from language because language is the means by which we communicate. So the way the words come out is your language, but the communication is actually trying to get what you have in mind to another person's mind, and it actually meaning the same thing. So we talked a lot today about how language creates social reality, and that kind of leans towards the talk about as a culture, groups of people. I mean, someone like me can interpret something completely different than someone like from up north or of a different culture from a different country. I mean, one word can have like 5 different meanings. Everybody knows that. I mean, it's just something that happens. But that's why you have to know who you're talking to when you're talking to them and how they will actually interpret the speech that you're given. So I actually have in my notes here, I wanted to talk about some of the things that's pretty important that we mentioned in class, which is things like using simple language. So you don't have to like decorate your speech all up and make it use all these big fancy words, because honestly sometimes when I hear big fancy words I think they just literally went up on the internet and looked up, how can I replace this word for a bigger, more intellectual word? And it becomes a word I don't even know. So I'd rather you use blunt, to the point, simple language than actually trying to confuse it just to make yourself sound more credible. Now, you need to use concrete and precise language just like I talked about, but it talked more about that in the chapter. Now, things that it did mention that I don't know, I don't ever see myself actually using, like metaphors, similes, alliteration, antithesis, however you say that word. Like things like what I just said, I don't know how to say that word, so I probably wouldn't use it in my speech, because if you don't know how to say it and you don't know how to use it, then you probably shouldn't incorporate it in your speech, just as a FYI. So in the end though, when we talked in class, people would much rather hear a speech that comes from you. I mean, once you start buttering up and adding different words and language to make it flair or make it sound better, you actually end up confusing your audience as a whole, in my opinion. So I do like blunt, to the point, and that's how I think it could backfire, because you may think your audience is going to like it, but actually, and then they end up not liking it. So